So like I said, a yoga strap might be helpful for this, but you can get by with anything that you can hold on to like that. And you can even follow along without any prop at all. Okay, everybody. We're going to start in a simple cross-legged position. Oh, that cushion is good. All right. So I do have the benefit of being up on a little cushion. You can sit directly on the floor, or you can fold up a blanket and sit on that. Or if it's palatable, you could even sit on your yoga block. All right. So we're going to do a little yoga mudra. Thumb and index finger come together, form a little ring, a little circle. That's the yoking of self and other in kind of the biggest, broadest way of thinking about yoga as yoking. And this is the representation of it. As most of you are probably well aware of, the simple cross-legged is literally named the happy and easy pose. It is meant to be comfortable. And at the risk of using a very cliche phrase, it does impart some meaning, I think. We're just going to start our practice here. We're going to start by stopping. And so just for these opening couple minutes, I'm going to find a seat that's steady and comfortable. And with your intention, let your attention light on the breath for a little while. And once you have that intention of shifting your attention to your breath, then it's just right there. It's one of the contents of consciousness. And despite our best intentions, literally, and despite having honed and practiced resting our attention, we all experience it. The mind drifts. Other stuff bubbles up. Stuff that wasn't intentionally planned. Where does that come from? What do we do with it when it bubbles up? So in the context of most meditation practices, what we do when it bubbles up is notice it. Some say even note it, make a mental note, and then redirect the attention back to breathing sensations. So let's just try that for the next minute. We've established an intention to direct the attention to the sensations of breathing. And you'll have moments where you're really there, just kind of communing with breath sensations. And then you got an itch behind the ear. The front door, the doorbell rings. You've got a random thought about last year's tax form. You know, whatever, it could go anywhere. Which is part of the whole ball of wax, is that when we sit down and take a couple minutes to look, to notice, the psyche's pretty curious. Attention can be kind of fleeting. There are contents of our consciousness that we didn't seem to willfully bring about. And through all of that, somehow we can keep coming back to the breath sensations. Last minute here. All right, everybody. So presuming you're still in Sukhasana, we're going to just hinge forward with that same leg arrangement. And just go down any amount you can that's comfortable. And then just ease your way to the right a little bit and let that torso Just kind of find more the side of your mat. Nice big breaths into the left side of your body where you presumably get most of the stretch. And then one time you're going to bring the arms back across to the center and over to the left side of the mat. Just make sure you switch. Really feeling that stretch through this long right side. And then coming back to center and uncurling your way up. Okay. So then we're just going to switch the cross of the legs. Switch the cross of the legs and hinge forward again. We've got the new leg forward from our opening shape, and we're hinging forward again. We're finding some comfort in this, but there's also going to be, it'll definitely feel like a stretch. You're hinging from your hips, rounding from your back, releasing from your head. Really breathing into the back side of your lungs, big, full, deep breaths into the back body. Same thing we did on side one. Walk a little bit to one side. We'll walk to the opposite side. And finally back to the center and slowly uncurl all the way up. Oh man, excellent. So we're going to keep this cross, the one we haven't had for nearly as long, and then we'll take the right hand on the ground, reach the left arm up, and do a little side bend. Now, depending on your flexibility, you might be able to get some different action with this right arm that's on the ground. Oh, goodness. And then slowly hinge back up and switch sides. So new right arm out for most of you. Or sorry, left arm out, right arm up. Just make sure you're switching. And some side bend, lateral bend. Slowly, everybody, let's come up and out of there. All right. Last one. This time we'll go with straight extended legs. And let's lean backward. So for this one, we've got a little bit of extension running through your spine. You've got a little arch in your low back, some upward lift through the sides of the waist, a little backward extension through the breastbone, and all the way up through the crown of the head. Plus some shoulder stretch. Goodness. All right, and then let's come to sit straight. And last set, we'll do twisting this time. So twist to your right. And then twist to your left. So we did forward bending, we did forward bending with a little bit of lateral movement, we did lateral movement all by itself, we did back bending, and now we're doing some twists. All of these should just feel like fairly gentle movements for your spine, but at the same time it's, you know, it's taking your spine through a lot of fairly good-sized movement patterns. We just want to let the intensity level stay fairly low. One more time per side, twisting and twisting. All right. Lastly, everybody. Well, actually, that's it for that little sequence. Moving on. We're going to shift to all fours. Where's my trusty little... Yeah, there we go. Right? Kind of like straight from the grocery store, shelf stalkers. Things awesome for the knees. So anyway, all fours. I know not everybody's got this little trusty pad, but just make sure your knees are comfortable. And then we're just going to go through some dog and cat tilts. So super familiar move, I know, for virtually all yogis at almost every level. But it doesn't mean there's not something to still extract from the pose. One, it's still good to do, just because your spine needs to flex and extend regularly to stay healthy. But you don't have to just do it out of rote memorization, right? Or feeling like it's just completely out of habit. You can inject a little novelty. One, you've never done it at this exact time. And two, you might be able to feel something a little different about the pose. Maybe you undulate in a slightly different way. Maybe you emphasize when you round up, rounding a little, letting the apex shift, right? So if there's always the exact spot in your back that rounds the most, could you make a lower spot in your back round the most? Maybe when you're doing dog tilt, there's a way to soften the glutes, the sit bones, the floor of the pelvis, and just make it a little more relaxed and comfortable. Last couple rounds, you're going to add some hinge. So once you've gotten to cat, then you do the release into a child's pose. So then we've got good old Chakravakasana. This is a Viniyoga favorite, coming from the teachings of Desikachar through a guy named Gary Kraftsow, who was my direct teacher, through me to you all. Pretty cool. All right, so Chakravakasana, as most of you know, dog tilt, cat tilt, hinge. Basically one fluid set of 3 integrated moves. Dogging, which is forward rotation of the pelvis and extension in your spine. Catting, which is backward rotation of your pelvis and round in your spine. And then hinging. One more time, everybody. Arch. Round. Fold. From this fold, take the hands to the hips. Your head may or may not be able to be on the floor at this point. In one big movement, come all the way to kneeling with the arms extended upward, technically flexed upward. And then let's release the arms down. All right. So now we're up at kneeling. Inhale, reach both arms up. And exhale, see if you can come back to the child's pose, the end of Chakravakasana. inhale, you're coming all the way up. This is a two-parter. Exhale, you're hinging all the way down. Inhales, upward lift. Extension through your spine. Exhales, deep hinge. Arms extend backward. Spine flexes down. 2 more. Also a Viniyoga favorite. I often call it like a mini sun salutation, kind of like that first move in a sun salutation, but from your knees instead of from your feet. Last one, everybody. Oh, that feels good. Once you're up to the top on that last one, we're just going to release the arms down, and we're going to step the right foot forward, and we'll bring both hands down, and we'll tuck back toes, shimmy just up off that back knee. So this one's got a lot of play in it. And what you want to find is a playful version of pushing and pulling. This part of the pose is really governed by the push of my hips, downward and forward, as though pubic bones were going to land on front heel. This part is really governed by lifting, and my pubic bones are, it's pretty much the exact opposite, lifting up and away from front heel. Toward, away. Toward, away. Now so much is happening here in terms of what your ankles are getting from the two movements, what your legs are getting from the two movements in this big kind of like a version of the splits, what your back goes through in the two movements. Head goes from almost at the bottom of the move to almost at the top of the move. And that's why it's so often referred to as the world's greatest stretch. Some variation on this theme. One more time. Pause at the bottom. The push. Oh. Okay. And then let's release that. Let's come back to all fours and get that going on the new side. So new foot forward, left for most of you. Just make sure you're switching. Your hands could be up on blocks if need be, or even up on a chair if need be. And you get the push and the pull going. If your hands are on the floor, they can be finger-tipped, palmed. It's just hard for me to reach with the palms. It actually feels pretty good though. Fists. Now, part of the playfulness of this whole pushing and pulling exercise is during the push, it's even okay to let your front knee exceed the angle of your ankle if your heel stays solid on the ground. When you do the pull, you can pull this foot way off the floor, almost like you're taking your foot off the gas pedal. Your heel's still on the ground, you're not levitating, but your foot's in big, big dorsiflex. Plantar flex, dorsiflex. Plus all the stuff that's happening for your hips, your hamstrings, your back, your neck. Oh. Practicing with the hips pretty much squared up the whole time through. You could even link these with breathing, such that you press down on exhale, pull up on inhale. Last one, pause in the down squeeze. Oh. Okay. Then let's shift back to all fours. Oh, goodness. So from all fours, we're going to bring the right hand behind the head. We're only going to do this 3 times. And just do an easy upward, rightward twist. Not trying to crank too far, just a little twist. Come back to neutral 2 more times. A little bit upward and rightward. Come back to neutral. A little bit upward and rightward. Come back to neutral. 3 times on the opposite side. New hand behind the head. Open toward that side where your elbow points out. Square up. Last one. All right. Let's come back to lunge, your right foot forward. Okay. So this time we're in the lunge, back knees down, and we're going to do the cat and the dog tilt from here. So you're going to round your back, and then you're going to arch your back. But the feet, legs, knees basically stay in uniform. So round, arch, cat tilt, dog tilt. Ooh, cat tilt, dog tilt. Last one, everybody. Right. 6 on the new side. Bring the right foot forward and the new, left foot forward, new foot forward in case the side doesn't correspond with what you did. So we're basically putting these exercises together, right? We've done lunging, we did cat and dogging, now we're doing lunging plus cat and dogging in one. So round flex, a la the cat. Arch extension, a la the dog. You can marry these with breathing. Round into cat on exhale. Arch into dog on inhale. Oh, gosh. Last one. All right. Last thing to put together. Let's sit back on the tucked toes just for a moment. All right. You might even kind of have a sense of what's coming here. So we did the lunge, many versions, push and pull. Then we did from all fours, we did a twist. So now this last pose before we get up and stand will be to combine the twist with the lunge. The pose that a lot of you know already. But if you want to look first, feel free. So we get the lunge going. We come off the back knee, kind of like the hand behind the head thing, but we go arm out. We twist, and you come back to square, and you repeat. And if you want to add a little more, instead of coming back just to square, you could thread the needle away from front leg. So a big twist in the direction of front leg, neutral, or some twist away from front leg in addition. 2 more. Last one on this side. Now as you come back to square, before we go to side 2, we're going to do the more advanced version of pull the lunge. So pull the lunge is pull your hips up and back till this front leg gets almost straight. Relax your head down. Try to get the back heel on the ground, so you might have to change your stance a little bit. And this is only if you're feeling pretty confident with it. Take your hands behind your back. All right, everybody. To dismount from this whole thing, hands come down. You come to all fours. And before you switch sides, although you're probably making this connection yourself, obviously the very last part of the pull of the lunge, you kind of got like maybe this scene going, right? So we're combining lots of elements we've worked on. All right, last time, second side. Get your lunge going. Open out one arm. The arm that matches your front leg. 3 or 4 times. Twist and untwist. Twist, and maybe twist the other way. Totally optional. 2 more. Twist and untwist, or twist both right and left. To come out, we pull the lunge, meaning from the pubic bones, tailbone region, we're pulling up. I'm trying to stick my tail straight up in the air. At this very moment, I kind of feel like I need my hands posted up along the ground to balance. But I want to try to remove the hands. So then the hands come to the tail. Now to get out of this whole thing, we're going to take the hands back to the floor. We're going to step back foot forward. And then slowly come all the way up. Whew, goodness. All right. So if all went according to plan, we're all standing right now. All right, very good. Let's try this. We're going to take the feet and turn them out just a little bit. Just kind of bias slightly toward 11 and 1 o'clock. And, ooh, I can see my mat move a little bit right there. Not very dramatic, but I could feel it. And then we're going to get this is like a little internal coaching cue. With your feet, you want to kind of feel like you're almost stretching the mat apart. And you might literally see some evidence that that's happening. So there's two things. It's kind of like you're trying to stretch your mat apart. And it's a little bit like you're turning out. So the turnout might show up like you actually see your feet turning out a little bit. But the turnout also should show up as, oh, I just felt my butt like kind of come online and get nice and strong. It's like the butt is helping to do the turnout. Yeah? Strong, steady legs. Hands to the heart. Reconnect to 5 big breaths here, everybody. Feet are working, legs are dynamic, inner upper thighs are engaged. Glutes are most definitely contributing to all of that action you can feel down in your feet. Sternum is lifted, crown of the head is lifted. One more full breath and then we'll add the arms to the lifted list. On an inhale, lift those arms up. And then we're going to hinge into squat. So you hinge your hips as you bend the knees, as you squeeze your mat apart, as you turn your feet out a little bit. Your glutes are still working nice and hard. Last 5 breaths here. You can sit down so the hips are level to the knees, but not necessarily much lower than that. And possibly a lot higher than that. One more big breath here. Stand up. Release the arms. Oh, goodness. All right. One more. This time we'll keep the hands behind the head. Cue the feet out so you really stretch your mat. Turn a little bit in the 11 and 1 direction. Hinge at your hips. Bend at your knees. Stay long through your spine. Find a pretty deep squat. 5 big breaths. All right, everybody keep your hands behind your head and come up. Let's relax the arms. All right, this time, one more variation on the squat theme. So we did arms up, essentially we just did arms out, now we'll do arms back. You might feel like this is far more palatable, as your shoulders, for some, feels like it's less stretch. But it also might feel like you kind of liked having this counterweight out there. So, and all 3 angles are great for your shoulders. Last breath or two here. Now you're going to keep the arms along your side and just stand. Good. All right. Next, we're going to do the same down squat, arms along the side of the waist. However, when we come up, we'll reach the arms along the ears. You'll know it well. Down you come, and up you reach. Let's try about 6 or 8 or 10 of those. Down, up. If you're feeling a little extra spunky, you can come up off your heels. And if you got a lot of extra juice, add a little jump. But you want to still land cleanly. 2 more. 1 more. Pause on the bottom. Hands down. Step the left leg back. The lunge we practiced many, many times. Step the left foot forward. Arms back. Stand up. Let's release for a second. All right. Let's try this again. We'll make sure we're going together here. You're in a squat, arms along your side. Then we bring the hands down and we step right leg back. So you're in a nice big lunge. And then step right foot forward. So you're back to the squat. And then reach up. And relax it. Let's try one more. Squat. Lunge. Squat. Stand. Last one. Clear my way behind me. Squat. New leg lunge. Squat. Stand. One addition. You guys with me? All right. I know it takes a lot of juice. Squat. Lunge. Now keep the one leg back in the lunge and add the second leg. Plank. Now with your plank, see if you can alternate tapping your shoulder. Okay, back to plank. Step the left foot forward, so you're in a lunge. Step the right foot forward, so you're in a squat. Stand up. Let's release. Other side. Squat. Lunge. Add the second leg to the lunge, so basically if one leg is doing it, it's a lunge. If 2 legs are doing it, it's plank. Then try a push-up. Now this is a maybe. Jump both feet forward. So you go right to the squat, bypassing the lunge. Up you come. We're ready for one more round? Okay. So basically, the option here is we take the lunge out. But you, if you need it, insert the lunge. It's a go-between. It's also its own exercise, which works out great. Squat. Plank. 1 push-up. Either lunge, then squat, or right to squat and stand. All right. Last one. This time, when you come up to standing, you can add a jump. We worked on little optional jumping earlier, but this would be the big full burpee in its fullest expression. But I've also obviously very slowly walked us up to this, so you can do like a regression or a progression. All right. Those two words obviously sound so loaded, like, oh, I want to progress, I don't want to regress. Do what works for you, though, right? If you go for the progression and you get injured because it's way too much, then you're going to do more regressing than if you just stuck with like the easier version. But if you always do the easy version, well, you know. Let's give it a try. Squat, plank, push up, squat, jump. One more. Squat. Maybe it's just a lunge for you, and then a plank, or maybe it's right to plank. One push-up. Maybe it's a lunge, and then to a squat, or maybe it's right to squat. Maybe you only stand, or maybe you jump. Oh, goodness. Awesome, you guys. The burpee. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's got sun salutation elements, but it's a little different. Anyway, if you can, I'm trying to do a couple of minutes of shoulder stretches. So if you can, grab something that you can hold, arm of a sweatshirt, a towel, a tea towel, dish towel, obviously a real yoga strap. So pose one, you're going to let your palms face forward, thumbs face out, hands are as wide as you want them to be. Mine look like this, pretty wide. You can see them right here. So they're actually wider than my hips. So for 10 breaths, I'm just trying to stand tall, keep some squeeze in the butt. Try not to let the ribs bulge too much. They're going to arch and stick out a little bit, like it's kind of a feature of the arms backward. But you don't want it to be the sole feature. The arm backward is really trying to exercise more your shoulders than it is trying to promote a back bend. Oh, God, that feels good. Collarbones are wide open, heads of the shoulders are down, shoulder blades are squeezed. Just pulling. I'm pulling backward. I don't have enough flexibility for my arms to go any higher, so in some ways I'm almost pulling back and down. But if you're way up here, then you're maybe pulling back and just back. Last couple breaths. All right, and then let's release that. Oh, that feels good. Okay, next. It looks about the same, but instead of palms forward, thumbs out, we're going to do palms backward, thumbs in. So palms backward, thumbs in. Palms backward, thumbs in. Basically, you have an underhand grip instead of an overhand grip. Under or over. Under this time. Okay. Oh my God. Just a couple big breaths here. All right. And then let's release that. So good. Then you're going to drape the strap or whatever item is sort of substituting as a strap over your right shoulder. You're going to reach the right arm up and reach for the strap. Then your left arm is going to reach out and it too will reach for the strap. So now you've got an underhand grip, probably on the bottom, an overhand grip, probably on the top, and whatever space you need to between the hands. I have almost the entire space in my back. Some of you might not need all that space. Some of you might find your hands are touching each other. Couple big breaths here. Gomukhasana, the face of a cow. Oh. And a pose that it seems to me most PTs love as a solid shoulder exercise. All right, let's release that. Oh, yeah, that feels good. New side. I mean, you could probably keep the strap where it is, but I just like to switch shoulders. New arm high. Reaching down the back. New arm low. Reaching up the back. Gomukhasana. Couple more big breaths here. Alright, everybody, let's slowly release that. Alright, so one last time, you're going to take any bind behind the back. Underhand grip, overhand grip, wide grip, narrow grip. But we're going to hinge this time, so it's a little different. This is the last one. Oh my gosh. And then if you want, a lot of us will have some freedom here. Let the strap lift up. Oh. So if you can pull it off, one dismount is to just ditch the strap, come down to a full low squat called malasana, as distinct from utkatasana, all the stuff we were doing earlier. Oh my gosh. And then from here, everybody, we're going to shift to all fours. Wrap the left leg in front of the right. Open up the feet. Oh, gosh. And sit back down. We're sitting between the feet. Then we'll come back to Gomukhasana one more time. Or sorry, it's Gomukhasana one more time. So we got the strap, arm up, and an arm back. This is the big, full, official pose, where we've got the legs doing a little wrap, and we've got the arms doing their bind. Lastly, release with your arms, unwrap with the legs, new leg on top, new arm on top, new arm behind. And we're practicing here at least live on the heels of the International Day of Yoga, which is kind of cool that it's recognized all around the world. And yesterday was it, June 21. So anyway, glad we're all practicing together, everybody. Let's release. Come out from that leg shape. Let's do one last forward bend, and then we'll come onto our back and call it a session. So you can straddle with the legs, called Upavista Konasana, and then we'll hinge forward. This is a wide leg version of what we opened our whole session with when we did our very first forward bend from a simple cross-legged pose. All right, everybody. And slowly uncurl your way up. All right. And then from here, you can make your way to your backside. So, always, whatever you need to make the corpse pose maximally comfortable. All right. So one transition, if you haven't found yourself already doing this spontaneously, is maybe just to process a couple cleansing breaths, big, full, deep inhales through the nose. A little hold, and then an exhale out the mouth. That could come with a sigh. More of a moan, or an ah, or an om, or just the spontaneous, comfortable, cathartic exhalation, however it comes out. As I've shared a few times before, I sometimes flash back to when we do that cathartic breathing. I sometimes flash back to a crowded, sage-filled room in Santa Monica where one of my formative teachers, Anna Forrest, was leading classes and sessions, and for whatever reason, at this time in the late 90s or early 2000s in Santa Monica, when she'd prompt a room to exhale cathartically, you'd think you were at a primal scream therapy session. The room was so loud with just, I don't want to do it now because the mic is too close, but the screams were very interesting. Whatever people needed to release, there was a lot of it. Or perhaps there were a lot of budding drama students in West LA. Whatever the case. And those cathartic exhales are really just getting us en route to letting the breath move all on its own. And there are certainly meditative elements to the corpse pose experience, but I think of them as different in many ways. Where in our opening meditation, we kind of tried to anchor the attention or bring it back as it drifts. I think in corpse we're taking an even freer approach. And we're really just practicing letting go. Sahanao Bunaktu Sahaviryam Karavaye Tejasvaye Namitamasu Ma Vidvushavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we be protected. May we be nourished. May our studies be effective. May our intellect be sharpened. Let there be no animosity amongst us. Peace in you and me and all forces. Peace. All right. The chant to yoga teaching. All right, everybody. I see some of you have made your way up, so if you haven't, though, find your way into a comfortable seat. Come in full circle. You can resume Sukhasana. Let's bring the hands into a prayer position and just reconnect to 4 or 5 or 6 big breaths here. That can be moving out quietly, it can move out with a little sigh, a little moan, the way we entered Shavasana, however you like. One more deliberate breath, everybody. All right. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.